If you think California begins and ends with Silicon Valley startups, coastal highways, and postcards of Big Sur, think again. Tucked beyond the traffic and the hype are places where ambition stepped back and let beauty take the lead. These aren't polished resort towns built for Instagram or weekend warrior photo ops. They're the kind of places where the main streets still matter. People remember your name, and the loudest sound on a Tuesday afternoon might be wind through oak trees or waves kissing the shore. This is California before the tech boom, venture capital, and express lanes got involved. So pause for a moment, refill your coffee, and recalibrate your sense of pace. What you're about to see isn't nostalgia for show. It's daily life in towns that never ask to modernize for anyone's approval. And if that sounds refreshing, you're in the right place. Subscribe and stick around, because once we start counting down these hidden California gems, you may find yourself seriously reconsidering what retiring well actually means. Eureka doesn't announce itself. It simply exists, perched on the Redwood Coast between San Francisco and Portland, like a town that forgot to modernize and doesn't regret it. At first, you might drive right through, but the moment you slow down, the magic clicks into place. This is California's largest oceanfront city between the Bay Area and the Pacific Northwest, yet it's remained one of the state's best-kept secrets. Population just under 27,000, small enough to know faces, large enough to have real infrastructure. The median home price hovers around $500,000, which for a coastal California town is practically unheard of. That's not a typo, that's just Eureka, doing its own thing. What defines Eureka is its architecture. The moment you step onto the downtown streets, you're transported. Victorian buildings line the avenues. Genuine 1800 structures, not replicas. The Carson Mansion, widely considered one of the most magnificent Victorian homes in America, commands attention from a hilltop perch. But beyond the famous landmarks, entire neighborhoods breathe the same vintage charm. Ornate trim work, wraparound porches, stained glass windows. This isn't preserved for tourists, it's how people actually live here. The pace of life matches the pace of the redwoods. Things move slowly, things last longer. A morning coffee doesn't feel rushed. A conversation at the market doesn't need an exit strategy. The sequoia forest and garden offers trails through old-growth trees that make you forget what year it is. And the fishing? Exceptional. Both ocean and river options, depending on your mood and season. Healthcare is solid, shopping is local-focused, and the climate is temperate year-round. Fog in summer, gentle rain in winter, but rarely the extremes that make people move. What nobody tells you is that Eureka operates on its own timeline. If you're someone who thrives on that kind of independence, this place grabs you and doesn't let go. Paso Robles sits at the crossroads of wine country and small-town authenticity, and it's managed to stay charming while other wine destinations commercialize themselves into oblivion. With a population around 30,000 and median home prices hovering at $500,000, Paso Robles offers what feels like a secret: wine country, without the pretension. The landscape here speaks first. Rolling hills, oak-studded valleys, and over 200 wineries create a tapestry that naturally slows your thinking. This isn't Napa, it's more lived in, less curated. The downtown is genuinely walkable. The main plaza hosts a farmer's market that feels like a civic gathering rather than a shopping destination. Local restaurants serve slow food long before it became trendy. Breweries, coffee shops, and galleries occupy spaces that used to house hardware stores and feed suppliers, but they've kept the bones intact. What makes Paso special is its diversity. Wine is here, yes, but so is culture. The Paso Robles Children's Museum, the Templeton Performing Arts Center, and a great classic car show on Memorial Day. Then there's the community spirit, events throughout the year that center on harvest, local makers, and the kind of entertainment that requires you to actually leave your house. And if wine country living makes you want oceanfront access, Cambria sits just 30 minutes away, a quaint seaside town with its own distinct charm. Cambria's sea cliffs, art galleries, and quiet beaches offer a coastal counterpoint to Paso's inland wine rhythm. You get both worlds without choosing between them. The climate is Mediterranean. Warm summers, mild winters, 4 distinct seasons, but none brutal. The outdoor recreation is sophisticated without being exhausting. Hiking through rolling vineyards, kayaking nearby lakes, farmers markets that feel like social events. Healthcare is top tier for a town its size. Education is solid. The cost of living is climbing, but still reasonable compared to coastal California. Retirees have found this place for a reason. It offers the best of California wine country without the Lake Como pricing, plus proximity to genuine oceanfront if your retirement mood shifts. What nobody tells you is that Paso Robles' charm is its refusal to become a resort town, even while staying connected to the California coast. Pismo Beach is that rare California coastal town that never got destroyed by its own beauty. The town is defined by its famous pier, 1,200 feet of wooden history extending into the Pacific, a classic California experience that actually feels earned. Population-wise, it's intimate but not isolated. The median home price sits at around $700,000, which for a prime California beach town is shockingly reasonable. You're getting oceanfront living without the mansion tax bracket of Malibu or Montecito. The beaches here are genuinely award-winning, not just for Instagram, but for actual quality. Wide, white sand, consistent waves, and a unique feature, a rare, natural clam habitat that makes Pismo's shores scientifically interesting. The pier draws both fishermen and walkers. Sunset at Pismo Pier isn't just scenic, it's ritualistic for locals. Downtown stays manageable. Locally owned restaurants, surf shops that actually cater to surfers, galleries, and cafes that don't feel like chains. The Pismo Preserve offers trails through coastal bluffs. Monarch Butterfly Grove hosts thousands of butterflies each winter, a natural phenomenon that never gets old. Point San Luis Lighthouse adds historic flavor. Wine tasting is nearby, but not intrusive. What makes Pismo work for retirement is the balance. Beach life without beach town insanity. It has real ocean access, a walkable downtown, good healthcare, and the kind of weather that feels like you're living inside a perfect day extended infinitely. The town has maintained character, while other coastal communities became caricatures of themselves. Rio Vista might be the most underrated retirement gem in California. Nestled along the Sacramento riverbanks in the Delta, this town of about 8,000 residents operates on a completely different timeline than the rest of the state. The median age here sits around 58, which tells you everything about its appeal to retirees. But what really matters is what that means for daily life. You're surrounded by people at a similar life stage. The pace makes sense. The community is already built for longevity. Home prices are genuinely low for California, well below state averages, with opportunities for affordable housing that feel almost suspicious in a state famous for its real estate madness. The Sacramento River itself defines existence here. Boating, fishing, and kayaking aren't hobbies. They're how people spend Tuesday afternoons. The Brannan Island State Recreation Area offers camping, wildlife watching, and marina access. Marina facilities are legitimate, not afterthoughts. Downtown is small but functional. Local restaurants, farmers markets, that kind of social glue that makes retirement feel less like isolation and more like belonging. There's an October Bass Derby and Festival that draws the community together. The climate is hot in summer, cool in winter, but without coastal fog or mountain snow. Banking, healthcare, and shopping are all present and practical. What nobody tells you is that Rio Vista represents something increasingly rare in California, a town that hasn't been colonized by wealth or development. It's unpretentious, affordable, and genuinely charming in a working-class, authentic way. If you want river living without paying coastal prices, Rio Vista is where you look. Ojai sits in a valley surrounded by the Topa Topa Mountains, and from the moment you arrive, the energy shifts. This is California's wellness capital by accident rather than design. Artists, spiritual seekers, and people who simply wanted to opt out of the rat race have been drifting here for generations. The population is small and intentional. The median home price ranges depending on where you land, but the community vibe centers on quality over quantity. You're getting mountain views, hiking access, and a surprisingly vibrant arts scene. The town itself is artfully underbuilt. There's no single sprawling downtown. Instead, a collection of galleries, yoga studios, cafes, and specialty shops scattered throughout creates a village feel. Probably the bougiest thing about Ojai is the Ojai Valley Inn, which offers resort-level amenities without the corporate atmosphere. What makes Ojai unique is its spiritual infrastructure. Meditation centers, energy healers, retreat facilities, it's all here, but presented matter-of-factly rather than new age, theatrically. The Crotona Institute, a theosophical organization, has called this valley home for over a century. Art galleries feature local work. Community gardens are active. Live music happens regularly. What nobody tells you is that Ojai attracts people looking to live deliberately. If you're done with status chasing and ready for community building, the town has already done the cultural groundwork for you. Here's the secret about Sierra Madre. It sits at the feet of the San Gabriel Mountains in Los Angeles County, yet feels completely removed from the city's chaos. It's close enough to access everything LA offers, distant enough to feel genuinely removed. Population is under 11,000, intimate but not isolated. The downtown is genuinely walkable. The pace is distinctly small town despite being only 30 minutes from downtown LA if traffic behaves. What makes Sierra Madre work is its commitment to character preservation. The town deliberately limits development to maintain its village atmosphere. That commitment shows everywhere. Tree-lined streets, architectural guidelines that prevent cookie-cutter development, and a genuine sense of community. Neighbors know neighbors. Local restaurants are family-owned. The parks are maintained with care rather than indifference. The outdoor recreation is exceptional. Direct access to the San Gabriel Mountains means hiking that's minutes away, not hours. Trail systems range from beginner walks to serious alpine climbs. The seasonal variation offers natural rhythm to life. Snow on the peaks in winter, wildflowers in spring, shade in summer. For retirees specifically, the appeal is the active lifestyle component. This is a town where people get outside. The civic calendar reflects it. Community hiking groups, garden clubs, outdoor movie nights. Healthcare is accessible. Shopping is walkable or nearby. The climate is Southern California temperate without desert heat. What nobody tells you is that Sierra Madre proves you don't need to move to a remote village to escape urban life. Sometimes the escape is just a valley away. Carmel reads like a storybook realized in actual California. Nestled on the Monterey Peninsula with a population around 3,000, this is genuine small-town charm at a premium price point. Median homes are easily $1 million plus, but the premium buys something real. This isn't a resort town playing at charm. This is an actual village where artists, writers, and people who simply value beauty have chosen to live. The architecture feels European, transplanted to the California coast. Cottages with stone chimneys, galleries, and converted homes. Streets designed for walking rather than cars. Downtown consists of galleries, bookstores, locally owned restaurants, and cafes, where the owners usually work the counter. The beach is legitimately stunning. White sand, rocky coves, accessible trails along cliffs. Cypress trees frame views that don't feel real until you're standing in them. The community operates on literary and artistic identity. Reading groups are regular. Poetry readings happen. The Carmel Mission, founded in 1771, provides both history and spiritual quiet. Locals can point to where famous authors lived, where creative figures still maintain studios. It's not pretentious because the community genuinely values creativity over credentials. The climate is temperate marine. You get real seasons without extremes. Hiking in Big Sur is practically your backyard, and the local fishing access is legitimate. For retirement specifically, Carmel offers intellectual stimulation, creative community, and natural beauty as daily reality rather than vacation experience. What nobody tells you is that you can actually retire here without being famous or excessively wealthy if you plan carefully. The charm is real and worth the premium. Groveland sits at 3,000 feet elevation in the High Sierra, with a population around 500 residents. This is the quiet you've been fantasizing about your entire career. Population density approaches zero. Noise pollution is non-existent. The Tuolumne River runs nearby. Pine forests surround the town on all sides. For outdoor enthusiasts specifically, Groveland represents something increasingly rare, a functional town in genuine wilderness. The median home price around $300,000. It sounds almost fictional in California. And the reason is elevation and location. You're trading urban convenience for mountain tranquility. What makes Groveland work is infrastructure. Despite the tiny population, you have basic services. Healthcare is accessible in nearby towns. Shopping exists. The internet has finally arrived. But the trade is that nothing happens quickly. Plans require flexibility. Snow can isolate you in the winter. Heat can challenge in summer. The town's attitude toward both is essentially shrugging and making tea. The outdoor recreation is exceptional. Carlin Falls involves a short hike through the Tuolumne River Canyon, emerging at a 90-foot waterfall, the kind of feature that would be a major regional attraction elsewhere. But here is just Tuesday. The Cherrohala Skyway winds through alpine forest at higher elevations. Camping options are abundant and legitimate. What nobody tells you is that Groveland requires a certain personality. If you thrive on solitude, nature immersion, and the absence of stimulation, this place is transcendent. If you need social options and urban conveniences, you'll be climbing the walls by November. Ventura occupies a unique space on the California coast. It's an actual working coastal city, not a resort town, not a bedroom community, but a functioning place with character that somehow avoided the commercialization that destroyed most California beach towns. The population sits around 110,000, which qualifies as legitimate city size, but the downtown maintains village proportions. The median home price around $600,000 is high, but reasonable for prime California coastal real estate. You're getting oceanfront living without Malibu or Santa Barbara pricing. What makes Ventura special is authenticity. The harbor is working. Fishing boats operate regularly, not just for tourist photos. The pier is genuine. Locals fish from it. Locals walk it at sunset, which are legitimately stunning. Downtown has maintained old-school California architecture, wooden storefronts, historic hotels, street-level retail that hasn't been replaced by chains. The beaches are serious. Actual body surfing and swimming waters, not just Instagram backdrops. Wave watching is a legitimate pastime. The Channel Islands are visible offshore, providing perspective. Whale watching is seasonal and frequent. Fresh seafood is genuinely fresh because the boats land here. The climate is Southern California perfection, with year-round mild temperatures and without the heat of inland or the cold of the northern coast. For retirement, Ventura offers coast living with maintained character. It's avoided becoming precious or overly commercialized. The community still includes working-class people and long-term residents alongside newcomers. What nobody tells you is that Ventura proves you can get California coastal retirement without choosing between character and convenience. We are about to get to number 1, so please take a beat and subscribe to our channel and get ready to call your realtor. Tellico Plains, Monroe County, the mountain valley that feels like California's secret best kept. Tucked in Monroe County at the gateway to the Cherokee National Forest and the legendary Cherrohala Skyway, Tellico Plains represents something increasingly rare. Truly affordable mountain living in California without desert heat or coastal fog. The population is small, maybe 500 year-round residents with seasonal variation. The median home price sits surprisingly low for California mountain territory. You can find quality homes in the $300,000 to $400,000 range, depending on specifics and condition. The Cherrohala Skyway winds through high-elevation forests, delivering overlooks that seem designed for long pauses and deep breaths. Bald River Falls sits minutes from downtown, a dramatic 90-foot plunge that never loses its impact. The river itself offers tubing in summer, trout fishing year-round. The sequoia forests provide hiking from casual walks to serious alpine climbs. What makes Tellico Plains extraordinary is the escape factor. There are no crowds, no neon signs, no sense of urgency. Evenings are defined by porch lights, campfires, and conversations that stretch under star-filled skies. The climate moderation at elevation means warm summers without desert burn and mild winters without brutal snow. For retirement, this represents genuine adventure at an affordable price. The outdoor recreation is literal. You're living inside what others visit as destination trips. The sense of community is strong because the population is intentional. You choose Tellico Plains because you want mountains, quiet, and a slower pace. The trade is that you're trading urban conveniences for wilderness immersion. Shopping requires planning, and healthcare needs are handled in regional centers. Additionally, winter weather requires preparation. But if you're someone who's spent your whole career planning other people's futures and your whole life managing schedules, Tellico Plains asks only that you slow down, breathe, and let the mountains do what mountains do best. And there you have it. 10 towns so charming, they might change your entire retirement trajectory. No Vegas retirement crisis needed. These are real places with real economies, real communities, and real people living real lives. Now seriously, switch off your phone, call your wanderlust, hit the road, and hit the subscribe button. These small towns are living proof that sometimes the best way forward is to go decidedly backward. Find your rhythm, find your people, and let California remind you why you fell in love with it in the first place.